All right, let us play here. Hello there, outliers. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey. My name is Niiamah Ashong, and thank you so much for letting us be here. So, what we're going to do is going to have our roundtable discussion. We have three incredible outliers who are here to play and here to share about their experience and the way that they're thinking about things as they keep growing themselves. Let's get to know them a little bit more. Why don't we start off with you, William? William, you mind letting us know more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Yeah, so William Bissett, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Own a company called Porter Spoth Advisors. Um, we have, over the course of the last couple of years, really started focusing in on business owners as the as kind of the core of the folks that we work with from a financial planning, wealth management perspective. So one of the things I realized over the years, really over the last 5 years, was um, business owners have a ton of wealth tied up in their business and not so much wealth tied up outside of it. And everybody else is so focused on outside. And so we turned it around and really started focusing on inside the business and starting to work from the inside out. And so that's the game that we play. We have fun doing it. I might not sound over enthusiastic at the moment, but we have a lot of fun in the conversations with the clients. So it's good stuff for sure. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, and I love this like inside out approach that you said there, where you seem like you saw something and you're just like, but what if? And you're going with that as well. All right, I'm glad you're here. We'll play around with that as it goes along. All right, Dr. East, let us know more about you and the game that you're playing.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm happy to be here. So I'm Dr. East. I'm the CEO and clinical director of Smile Psychology and Associates, which is a clinical practice here in St. Petersburg, Florida. But I serve the whole state of Florida. What I'm really focusing on with my clients, especially the ones that are in business, are fine tuning their volume, and meaning recognizing how much energy we put into our environments and how to restore more of that energy. So many times we have so many different areas that we're placing our lives in, and we tend to maybe overgive in other areas, undergive in others. And so my goal is to help us to kind of fine tune so that we recognize and compartmentalize some of those areas so that we're only giving people the energy that they actually deserve, and that we are, able to pull from our overflow versus our deficits.
That's fun. That's fun. I like the way you're playing. I've been thinking a lot about energy recently here, so I'm glad that you're here, Dr. East. All right, cool. And Carl, let's get to know you here. Mind letting us know more about you and the game you're playing?
Yeah, hey buddy, thanks for having me. My name's Carl Denne, and I'm the owner and chief instructor at HKA, which is Hastings Combat Academy. And the game we play is punching kids. No, we teach kickboxing, K1 kickboxing, martial arts. We do a lot of self-defense, and a lot of people always ask me about the combat side. But we've got 450 members. We've got two locations. But 75, 85% of our membership base are there for fitness, fun, health, mental well-being, positive strength. Like there's so many other attributes that we bring into the game rather than just teaching kickboxing. So rather than just being a striking gym or a fighting gym, we've got families. We teach from the age of 3 years old. I met our oldest member today. She's 71 and
Mm.
still doing kickboxing. So we've got a massive variety of people. We've actually got 60% females that train with us at the moment. And it's just about spreading the love, having fun, getting fit,
I love it, Carl.
along with building fighters at the same time.
That's awesome. I love it. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you're here. There's some new questions that are already spurring throughout here. And outliers, as you go through here, you might notice that there's a gap every once in a while in what Carl's saying. There's some connectivity issues here that he's having, but like I want to make sure you don't think it's like am I imagining it? But we're gonna keep rolling through it because there's a lot that he has to offer in here. All right. Awesome. So let's get started. I'm going to ask you the first question. My ask is that you repeat your first name so that that outliers get a chance to associate you with your voice. And the first thing that's coming to me right now is this component of like what it was inspired by what William said when you said you flip things around, you're doing things from the inside out. I'm curious about like what's something that you do or something that happens in your business that most people assume to be one way, but in reality ends up being like either the opposite or like they don't really understand the power that makes it so successful. I'm really curious about that. Would anyone want to get us started on that question?
I'll jump in.
Yeah, Dr. East.
I'm Dr. East, and so one of the things that people often assume as the person that is providing the therapy or providing the insight that like we're straight, we're good, we're fine, we don't, need to balance that at all, and we actually do. It's interesting what Carl mentioned because I love kickboxing. It's one of the things that I do in my spare time. Kicking ass helps me to relieve a lot of negativity that I have, and I can punch anxiety and I can punch depression and I can punch domestic violence, you know what I'm saying? And really clear that out of my head. We become good therapists are very empathic. And so we care and we care after the fact. And so having a healthy balance of being able to be aggressive in spaces where we're not necessarily seen as aggressive is helpful for me to work through and process through some of the things that I know are hurting my clients or hurting the people that I care about. And so people often see us as being like happy and smiley and always motivated, but the truth is we get grimy and dirty and gritty, off hours because we need a space to let go and release all of the negative energy that we pick up and we hold on to so that you all can then not hold on to it and move forward. So I think people are often surprised when they find out that I fight in order to work through my energy, but it's a great way to release and it helps me, stay in shape. So yeah.
I love the synergies. I love like sometimes you think I'm like that people come into this conversation for exactly the right reasons here, and I love that there's originally that synergy. But in addition to that, like what they see is not what they get, or actually I put it another way, like it feels to me like people don't like there's an element of like we don't actually know what it takes for you to actually be there to be able to hold all of that. And you're like, hey, look, this is one of the things I put out there. Allies, for any of you, like I want you to kind of think through for you, like what is it that you do? What is the thing that it takes for you to be able to show up the way that you're looking to show up? Awesome.
Yeah, so Niiamah, just to kind of follow up on Dr. East's comments there, and this is William. I know I sound awful like Carl from the UK, but that is not in fact the case. So, anyways, but no, it's a really good point, right? Like you make, like um, we we all go through our own struggles, right? Like you're really really stinking good at what you do, but that doesn't mean that you don't have your own ups and downs throughout the course of the day. And I think life is so rushed these days that we all just think that the person in front of us in line or in the car or wherever else is everything's okay in their world and they just happen to be in my way at the moment in time, right? And you don't know what that person in line or behind you or beside you or any other direction is going through, right? And I mean, again, you kick ass in your job, but you've got ups and downs that you got to fight through too. And having the outlet, having that person beside you to help out along the way is super important. And being able to come to you and knowing that you got yours out in the morning so that you can go help the folks in the afternoon is awesome.
Mhm.
That's awesome
So,
here. Thanks for that, William. Carl, we see that you made a location change. Let's see how this comes through.
Amazing. So, how am I looking? How am I sounding?
You're sounding clear. The looking is coming through about the same, but why don't you hit us up with your thoughts on this question here?
Perfect. Yeah, I love what the other two have said, Carl from HK. And it's really interesting because a lot of people, when they come to us, they won't tell us the real reason they've come to us to start with. So they'll come, oh, I want to try something new. I want to lose weight, the generic reasons for going to a gym. Because, of course, they're not going to come into the gym and say, I'm come here because my wife hates me, because I'm angry and aggressive and I've got fat and she doesn't want to spend any time with me anymore. Or that, the children are too aggressive at school. That's not an open conversation to have with someone you've never met. So they come to us quite generically, and then within weeks they will then open up and go, oh my God, you've changed my life. You know, my husband now likes me again, or my mindset has completely changed. I'm a completely different person because I'm now calmer. The children are less angry because they've now got an outlet and they're burning off the energy. And it's just so nice to see a real life change in so many people. And what you realize is we've all got demons, we've all got issues, we've all got things going on. It's just we don't tend to openly talk about it, especially men and especially Brits. They're a closed book. And I love that we get to do that on a daily basis.
You know, there's something in what y'all are saying that's actually a bit surprising to me that I really enjoy, right? Which is um, this underlying tone of like, hey, what you see, I'll put it in this other terms. Uh, I had a mentor who consistently said, we often compare how we feel on the inside with how others look on the outside. Right? And what I hear from all of you here is this component of actually being able to slow down and make sure that you're seeing more of the individual that's in front of you than what meets the eye. Would you mind sharing with us here, like for the, just a time in your journey where you were able to discover more about someone that actually made all the difference, whether it became a client, whether it was a client that was able to get a really great uh, end result or something like that. But similar to what Carl just put into the mix here, if you can share a story or an example from your world around how being able to go deeper or seeing beyond the surface really is something that has paid off for you in your work.
I'll go first if you want.
Mm-hmm.
The one that springs to mind is literally one of our newest members. Obviously, I won't mention her name, but she come to us because she said she wanted to try something new, and she wanted to meet new people, and she wanted to get to the gym. She done one class, and then afterwards she was kind of hanging around a little bit, and we was like, "You all right? How are you?" And she completely broke down in reception. Like had a not a meltdown, but she completely broke down. And I was like, "Oh my God, give her a hug. Are you okay?" And she was like, "I've not been out of the house since COVID. I've literally not seen anyone in 3 years. I've been so scared of leaving the house, walking down the street." She'd completely engulfed herself in her own world. Um, and she's like, "You've saved my life because you've given me the confidence to leave the house, come to a place, meet new people. Everyone's amazing. Everyone's lovely." Um, she's in her 50s as well. Um, and now she's signed up to be like a lifetime member, and she just wants to live every day at the gym and just have an awesome life. And when you think about what she said, like she hasn't left the house in 3 years, she hasn't seen anyone, she's been isolated. I mean, that's really dangerous and really scary. And knowing that we've created an open, safe space for her to come as kickboxers is phenomenal. And you know, I love the fact that we can do that.
That's awesome. So, Dr. East, you all right if I tell a quick story? So William here in Charlotte, North Carolina again. Again, from a wealth management perspective, we deal with individual families a lot, and we have a family that we've worked with for almost 20 years now, who the husband actually passed away a couple of years ago, but gosh knows he'd been diagnosed with cancer back in 2008 and fought it off, and it came back in 2016 or 2017. And at that point in time, it was pretty much diagnosed as terminal. And I was like, well, why don't we do a little video? And we just recorded for, he had very young grandkids at that point in time, and share, how you and your wife got to where you are and what you learned along the way, and just so that you can share that story. And as we did that, he ended up deciding to go decade by decade and kind of talk about his tens, his teens, and his 20s and his 30s, and he told what he learned in each decade. And it was a beautiful story. We were at his house in his backyard. It's a really nice setting. And at the end of it, I asked him, each decade had its own cool little thing that he learned, an aspect of life, and all of these different things. And I asked him which one was his favorite decade, and I've told this story a fair amount of times. He didn't even really stop to think, and his response was this one, because if it's not this one, then what am I living for? And it just kind of hit me pretty hard that, look, and I mean, this was the decade that he was terminal cancer and, all of those things. And it's still, and he's embracing that and looking towards the future. And it just kind of reminds you that there's always something, there, live for today, right? Like, I mean, yeah, sure, enjoy your past, relish it, cherish those memories and do everything else. But there's, there's something in front of you that you can continue to enjoy and reach out for and be excited about.
Yeah, I definitely want to piggyback off of that because I know in my field, Dr. East, and I love working with, clients of all ages, but when I get male clients, it's really fun, right, to work with male clients because I get to oftentimes challenge their preconceived notions about defining themselves as a man and what that means. And that's important because I think so many men have these ideals of what it means to be a man, right? And not necessarily be a human. And so I try to teach my clients how to be a human first and recognize that, like, you can cry, like, we've got feelings, we've got emotions, and you would be surprised and maybe not surprised at how much weight my male clients leave on the floor from just knowing that they can just be human. And I know we know this, right? Technically, we're human, but we're so busy checking off boxes and completing tasks and being all the things to all the people in our lives and protectors and providers and, all of those different things that we don't get a chance to just nurture ourselves, especially men don't get that chance to just self-nurture. And so I love being able to kind of break through this kind of concrete exterior where there's like a nice little pudding inside, and they're happy to get there too. And it allows them to really enjoy their lives and what they're doing in their lives more. So fathers become better fathers. They become better husbands, they become better friends, they become better individuals to themselves because they allow that posterior to kind of be chipped away and they get to just be human beings. And when you're a good human, you're going to be a good man, right? So I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's something like that's just so like beautifully simple in what you just said there. Like just like what comes to me, Dr. East, when you say that, it's about like being able to be the fullness of you, like be like and allowing that in.
Mhm.
So I had something here. I'm gonna say it. I realized as soon as soon as I thought it, I was like, oh, I'm not here to brag. I was like, this is not even that big of a deal. But like this is it. I went to an event and someone came to me and she said, like have a great time, like, and just like you're such an like you have such an alpha presence, and I'm grateful to be in this space. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, me, like, no, like I'm not an alpha, like that's not it. And it's very interesting that of all things, like that's what showed up for me, Dr. Yus, when you brought that up there, where it's like the element of having the space to show up fully and being able to be able to embrace all the parts of what you have going on for you.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. Like, let me see. I have another question that I can bring in, but is there anything that either any of you are thinking of or that you want to expand on before we go to that?
I just what she said is being comfortable in your own skin, being comfortable with yourself, your authentic self, and being okay with that, and then being able to share that with the world is such an important trait to have as a human.
All right, we're gonna keep playing this like this game of humaning as we go on. There's as y'all were talking, I remember some of the ways that you introduced yourselves, and Dr. Reese, I heard you were saying something around being able to serve all of the areas that you're in. William, you said that you were changing, so not just locally, but like throughout the entire state. And William, you had talked about doing things from like an inside out perspective and such. And so I'm curious to you said we can do this on behalf of the outliers. in what ways has your business evolved as you all have? I'm going to rephrase this question. Yes, I get to do that. That's going to be fun. I'm curious about what's the most recent way that you feel you have leveled up in business, and how has that been reflected with either your team or the structure or beyond? So, how have you most recently leveled up in business, and how's that shown up externally as well? Anyone feeling called on that one?
I do
Oh
on
yeah.
that one. Well, for me, what's been great is me recognizing that I can share my personal story through the work that I do, and then that allows me to be more humanized. And so, my level up is I went through a divorce, and what came out of that is the strength and resilience to teach people, no matter their gender, how to find themselves through divorce. Because we do lose ourselves sometimes, like being in relationships and connecting to other people. And we kind of, we'll even RIP some things that weren't even asked to be RIP'd, just because we think that's what we're supposed to do in that dynamic. And so, me being able to come out of this with a very positive experience out of divorce, right, which is kind of rare sometimes, it does allow me to help people who are navigating that do it in a way to where being amicable is not just a word, it's an actual way that we're performing and treating each other. And so I've kind of found myself being like the relationship whisperer lately, because by me telling my story and being very open and honest and transparent about how this process has been for me, I've helped couples be able to talk about their relationships in a way so that we don't lead to that, or come together and be able to recognize that we have grown apart, but like you're still my homie. How do we still maintain that connection regardless of the differentials? And that has been exponentially successful in bringing in clients that I didn't even think were going to be, you know what I mean, my category or my niche or my pilot, and they have been. And so I think it's important for us to understand that we are storytellers in the work that we do, and we can share pieces of our stories, and that is not a deficit. It doesn't mean that, oh, well, she's divorced, how can she be a therapist? No, it wasn't like that at all. It's like, oh, she's divorced, let me she can help me work through some shit. And so it's been a wonderful experience, and I just encourage people, in that authenticity that we talk about, to be transparent in some of the things in your life, because you may catch more than you realize.
Dr. East, you gotta hold off on the kickboxing piece, you can't tell the men that until later on in the relationship, right? You got to be careful when you drop that hint.
It's all about timing.
That's awesome.
Love
So
that.
yeah. So
Can
Carl, you want
can I
to go?
piggyback off of that as well?
Yeah.
Please do,
I
Carl.
think I think you might know what I'm going to say. There's two things, and Carlene, I love what you've just said. That would be my part two. So part one is I went through a divorce 20 years ago, and for me with the business, everyone used to come to train with me. So it'd be like Cole's teaching us from a very young age, and as the business has grown, obviously the classes grew, the numbers grew, but everyone was still coming to be taught by me. And then as I started to employ other instructors, people would say, "Well, it's not Carl anymore. It's different. It's changed. It's got bigger. It's not the same." But if I didn't allow myself to step out of the way and allow others to help me teach, then the business would have failed. The business would have stopped. I would have burnt out. I was burning out anyway. But also, as we develop the team and as we develop our staff, we can teach more people. We can save more lives. We can get more people doing what we do. There's no way in a million years I could teach 450 people a week now. No hope in hell. So it took a while to understand how important the team is, how the structure I have around me, the support network I have to allow us to be able to do what we do on a daily basis. And then if I'm ill, I've recently been injured and I had to have a week off. Whereas 10 years ago, if I had a week off, the gym would have shut. Whereas now, business as usual because I've got a full team in place. And the second part to this is, like you were saying, Carlene, my ex-wife, she is one of my managers. So she works at my gym full time. And we were talking about this earlier about just because you get divorced, just because you split up, just because things doesn't work, doesn't mean you can't be friends or homies or, you know, confidence within certain areas. And we just worked out that we were better friends than we were husband and wife.
Mhm.
I've remarried. I'm extremely happy, and it just works. And it's a good story, because when people go, "Is that your ex-wife?" and she works here, and that's your current wife, and she's here. How does that work?
Yeah, it's called adulting.
Yes. One of my mentors says, "Just don't be a dickhead."
So, but Dr. East, as you say, adulting, not many people adult very well either, though, right?
You're right about that.
We got a ways to go.
Yeah, we're still
Um,
working on it.
yeah, a lot of people are working on it. So yeah, I mean, look, I think it sounds like it, different people move at different paces, and um, some people never figure out. I mean, I kind of think about the Matrix, right? I was trying to visualize something in my head that makes sense with everybody else, and this is William again, not Carl, for those that keep getting me and Carl confused. But anyways, um, you've like Neo eventually in the Matrix, right? Like he can't. He's trying to fight like a human. He's trying to fight, and then eventually he realizes, like he is the one, and like he breaks out, and that's when he becomes a badass, right? And that's the component that y'all are describing. Like you found out how to become your badass, right? And I think again, I think being a business owner, which y'all both are, gives you that ability, right? Like it takes a while, like you're stuck in it for a long time of trying to manage and manage and manage. And some people never get out of that management mode, and then other people all of a sudden they rip off the Superman shirt, or they become Neo or whatever it is, right? And so I don't know. I mean, that's happened, with me over the course of the last couple of years, talking to more and more business owners to say, hey, wait a second, like I get this, like I understand it. I know what you're going through, and I can work with you on all of those inner challenges. And it allows you to teach. It allows you to be more impactful in those relationships. And so, I mean, it's cool to hear both of y'all, find that badass mode.
Badass mode. Like I'm loving this here. I think there's something really real about it. Can I just say real quick? All three of y'all are really funny. Like you're fun and funny. And it's cool because I get to discover with people as the conversation goes on. But like you each have y'all each bring a level of humor to this conversation that I don't want you to have to like put anything on for it, but it's been really enjoyable. It's been really enjoyable as we're going through. Um, so there was something that came up as you were talking. There's probably two elements here. I want to keep staying in the world of growth and how you are navigating, continuing to be all of you, being in badass mode while growing your business and growing yourself. Um, right now, there's I'm going to call it what I'm going to say. My clients are coming to me with some questions around like an uncertain economic environment, right? And then like so like things are slower than they've ever been. I hear some variation of that when it comes to business and on a regular basis. So I'm really curious for you all, whether it's happening right now or whether you've gone through this in some other times in your business. How do you navigate uncertainty, slowdowns in the business, changes in like the macro environment around you, whether it's the economy at large or like the people that are around you? When people start to show up differently and business starts to slow down, like what are some things that you have found to be useful for yourself to be able to stay in the game, honestly, more than anything else? Anyone feeling called to answer that one?
You
Yeah.
mind if I jump in on this one
Go on.
first?
No, go on, William. Go on. You go, bud.
So why don't we do? Yeah, we'll do William this, then we'll go to Carl.
So in our world, we get a lot of clients that come to us from an economic perspective, right? Because they're worried about their portfolio, their stocks, or their company, and their earnings and their profit, and all those different types of things. And then naturally, one of those things that comes out of that is political conversations, right? Like somebody somebody's upset about current administration, or somebody was upset about previous administration, or somebody's upset about the person in charge of the governorship because of this rule or that rule or the other thing. And so and we take that and we kind of always put it back. We've got great clients that are Republicans, we've got great clients that are Democrats, we've got great business owners on both sides of the aisle. And we always have to remind them and say, look, if you run your business based on what's going on in DC, you're constantly going to be focused on things that you can't control, right? Like you get your chance to control every 2 years or every 4 years when you go to the voter booth and you make your vote, and then you're done, right? Like you can get out and you can raise money and you can knock on doors and you can do these other things as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, it goes back to you can only control what you can control. So look outside and be frustrated and be scared and be everything else. But that's not doing you any good. So, again, back to what we said earlier on, right? Which is look inside. Like, how do we make the business better? How do we do like what opportunity? We have a sign. We have a garage gym, so I don't kick ass like y'all. I used to be a CrossFit person, and then I got too old, so I can't do that stuff anymore. But we have a garage gym outside, and in the garage gym, we have a sign, and my kids can tell you this because I ask them about it all the time. It says "Failure creates strength," right? And so, out of every failure rises an opportunity to create strength, right? Out of every challenge rises an opportunity to create success. So yeah, I mean, things are difficult out there for some folks right now, but if you just focus on what's difficult rather than saying, what opportunity is this giving me? You've missed the mark.
Mhm.
What opportunity is this giving me? I love being in that space there, William. Thank you for that frame as we come into this cut here. Carl, I know you had something to say as well. You mind bringing it in?
Yeah, William, I love what you've just said. Really good, really resonated with me. Over in the UK, same as America, people want to blame everything else. It's the economy. It's my next door neighbor. It doesn't matter what it is. They're in the blame game. And something I've learned over the last few years is we're all playing a game of business, game of relationships, game of education. It's a game, and you've got a set of rules. And every so often, them rules will change. And you've just got to work out and navigate your way around the rules that work best for your structure or your business or your set of ethics and morals, and try and find the best outcome for whatever it is. It's not easy. It is hard. It does change constantly. And people say to us, "Oh, it's right for you, and you're doing all right, and you're always smiling, happy." And it's like, you don't know the half of it. You don't know what the 80, 90-hour weeks are like. Or sometimes I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I can't sleep because I've got a stupid idea in my head. Or it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm doing a podcast for guys in America, but because I love what I do. And it just is what it is. And I try and treat business as a game. I want to enjoy it. I want to have fun. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be times when we lose. There's going to be times when we get off the field and you think, well, that sucked. But what did we learn from it? What do we take away from it? It's the same as when we fight. We're not going to win every fight. And if we win all our fights, we're not fighting the right people. So when you have a challenging fight, it's about what can you learn? What can you take? And how can you improve yourself ready for the next one? And it's exactly the same in business. When you fail, when it doesn't go to plan, what can you learn from it? And how can you be better and come out the other side? I think.
Mm-hmm. And I teach a little bit of a different perspective, and I'm gonna say my piece, and then I got a jet. I've enjoyed like talking and laughing and cutting up with all of you. But from my perspective, what I try to focus in on is this. When our businesses or we hit those kind of slumps, right, or professional uncertainties, what I try to get my clients to focus on is themselves in that moment. Because oftentimes we've sacrificed so much to build and to get to that space that there's things of our own selves, self-care and awareness that we have been totally sliding. And so I feel like when that happens, I choose to think of it as the universe giving us a little bit of break so that we can not go so hard, kind of ride that wave and then return that energy back to ourselves. So, okay, I don't have as many clients as I would every week, but damn, my cooking skills are not on point either. So let me put my, and that's not my story. I can slay, but let me put my cooking skills, down here so I can be better. Or let me take my kid to the park more because now I have those evenings and I normally would be at a business meeting or whatever that is. And so I think that if we use that time and fill it up with the things that matter also most to us, that we sometimes neglect because we are entrepreneurs and business owners and we are pouring into that, then we find that the balance is worth it. We've already sacrificed one part. That's being taken care and moved out of our way because we wouldn't stop working. We'd still be here till, no matter what time. But now the universe has said, okay, chill a little bit, go play with the kiddo, go learn some new recipes, go namaste, right? And then you'll be restored to come back and kill the game again when it revs back up. So I try to look at it that way in a more positive reframing than that I'm losing something.
I love it, Doctor. It's like what a way to like to take over here. Thank you for being here. I'd love to make sure that outliers get a chance if they want to go deeper in your world. Can you share with us how that might happen?
No, absolutely. So I'm on, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram under Dr. Carleah East, or you can look me up under Smile Psychology, and I'm there as well. And you can always hit me up in my DMs to contact me and follow me. But yeah, ask me questions, send me emails, whatever. All my information is on social media, loud and proud for you to find.
So,
Well,
Dr. East, I love how you brought the cooking in, right? Like you got them, you brought them back in, right? You punched them out of the way with the kickboxing, but you brought them back in with the cooking.
Right. Got to go through the stomach. I just knocked the head out. I got to come back through the stomach. Yeah.
well, we're glad to hear. Thanks for sharing your experience. Have an awesome one. All
Thank
right.
you for having me. You
Yes,
guys
sir.
take care. Be safe.
All right.
Take
You
care.
too. You
Bye
too.
bye.
We'll be coming to a wrap all together in just a bit here. I'm grateful for each of you in this conversation. Some of the things that got me, and I want to make sure I like this is something that ended up being a writer downer for me. But it's like if we win all our fights, we're not fighting the right people, you know. And I was just thinking about that in terms of like this element of we're here to share how we continue to level ourselves up, how we continue to expand along the way. And I think that there's something in there where, especially as a high achiever, like at a certain point, I get used to like winning. I get used to like things start to get easy. And as an entrepreneur, it ends up being one of those things where it's like it's been so hard up until this point. When it finally got easy, should I go and mess with it at all? And I really I think both of y'all have done a really great job of continuing to show what happens as we continue to expand and look for and lean into new opportunities, even if it's countercultural or counter to what other people typically do. So the way we're going to wrap up this conversation is I really trust y'all. So I'm going to ask y'all to do three things, right? We're going to do it one at a time. The first one is that I'm going to ask you all for an outsight. An outsight is some kind of like a takeaway that you want outliers to leave this conversation with. What's something that like you that if there's a message you can share with any of the people that are listening right now, what's the message that you would want to share? I'll start with you, Carl, and then we'll go to you, William.
Okay. I would say believe in yourself 100%. Don't let haters knock you down. Don't listen to the naysayers that tell you you can't, or you'll amount to nothing, or you'll never get there. Um, when I was at school, I was told that I was a failure. I would amount to nothing. The best I'm going to get is streeping the sweets or working at McDonald's. So don't ever listen to anyone that puts you down. Believe in yourself, back yourself 100%. And if you've got a goal or a dream, and go and chase it and do your very best to get there, because you are the best person to back yourself 100%.
Mhm. Thank you, Carl. Thanks for bringing that in. William?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to kind of piggyback off of that really quick because it's really easy to piggyback off such a great comment, right? Which is, failure is failure is the inability to learn from what you're going through, right? Like, just because something, a new initiative or something else, quote unquote, fails, right? That doesn't mean that it failed, right? There's an opportunity to learn and grow from it. And if you grow and learn from something, you become better, and therefore that failure prepared you for the next thing, right? Like failures, in my view, is rolling over and saying it's over. It's never over. There's always the next opportunity.
That's like, thank you. Y'all have been heavy hitting this entire conversation. I'm going to make a request here for any outlier that's listening. We grow this podcast through word of mouth, and yeah, it's primarily through word of mouth and share with people sharing it out in their worlds. So my ask is, take some time right now to go and share this out with your world, and join us in what I call the one person, one conversation at a time initiative. And that's for you to think about one person in your world who would really benefit from the conversation that all of us have had here today. Who's someone in your world that like needed to hear this message or any of the other things that showed up in our conversation? And please just send them this episode with intention. Let them know I heard this and I was thinking of you. There's something in my mind that just goes and says, like, there's enough virality in there. If every episode gets to the right person at the right time, we're good to go. And I think all of our time will be really well spent. All right. So I would appreciate if you join us in that. So, William, Carl, the last two things we're going to do to wrap up our conversation is that we're going to do two things. We're going to, one, let outliers know how they can go deeper down the journey with us. And then the next things that, like, we've already given our outside, that's for the outliers out there. Now I'm curious about an insight, something that you are leaving this conversation with. I think one of the reasons to have any conversation is so that we can go through some kind of transformation or find out something about ourselves as well. So if anything comes to you in terms of an insight that you got from this conversation, I'd love for you to share it. And if nothing shows up for you, just be like, oh, nothing's really showing up. And that's okay too. All right. So breathing that, let us know how we can go deeper down the journey, your best contact info, and then we will, and any insights you got, if any. William, why don't you start us off on this, and then Carl will bring us home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, again, William, the funny talking guy on the podcast. And LinkedIn is a great place to connect with me. Website is portisadvisors.com. And then email address is william@portisadvisors.com. Any one of those great places to get a hold of me. I mean, lesson, I mean, how often does it come back to confidence? Right. And I think both Carl and Dr. East touched base on that in some of their answers to your questions, right? I mean, that's what, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of what both of them are teaching. And to a certain extent, it's kind of what we're helping our clients gain as they go through life on the financial side. But I mean, Carl's out there, people in your shop are learning confidence, right? It's self-confidence, and that confidence, transpires into other aspects of their life, as you were talking about. And it's just hearing people instill confidence in others just reminds you that that's so much about what success comes from, is the confidence to walk into whatever that next situation is and know that you're equipped in some way, shape, or form to create success out of that. And so listening to again, Carl and Dr. East talk about that in their own ways was really insightful.
Thank you, William. Carl, we mind bringing us home?
Amazing, yeah. So we're pretty much on every social media platform you can think of. We are Hastings Combat Academy. Combat is spelled with a K to give us our HKA, obviously. So if you just Google Hastings Combat Academy or HKA, it will more than likely come up. The website is hastingscombat.co.uk. Again, we're on Instagram, TikTok, etc. Or you can reach out to me directly at Carl, which is Carl Denne, Denne at hotmail.com. And if anyone wants to reach out and have a chat, open up, have some advice, I'm always happy to help as many people as I can. As for the conversation, I love just having chats with different people around the world as well. I think it's amazing. And I love the fact how so many different businesses in different areas of different people's lives, but they all cross weave together. And although what I do and what William does is completely different businesses, I still think the structure is very similar. What we're talking about, the struggles, the stresses, there's so many connections that are very similar, although they are night and day different businesses.
I think that I love how you bring that up there. And it's one of the things that I love to find. I felt like uh I feel like the one thing we all have in common is that we're all different. And if we can like continue to lean into that and play off from that, like there's no place that we can't really succeed. So I appreciate all of you being on this conversation here. Thank you so much. Outliers, we'll wrap up at this point. Until the next time we talk, go out there and be you on purpose. Journey on.